Yeah! Here we go!
It is Commissioner Cooper.
Hold on. That's a big balls move. Do you want your title?
Happy Sunday. Happy early morning trash football game.
Yes! We're back, baby! Let's go!
Aaron Rodgers, I almost got banned off TikTok.
He has had some nagging hamstring issues over the years.
Lots of fun words start with B, like bye weeks.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah, or boo.
Yeah, I was waiting for a boo. Welcome in tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Halloween special. All of us got kids, of course, so tomorrow we're going to be out doing the trick-or-treating in the whole nine. But tonight we're here to break down Week 9, and we'll give you some updated reports on America's team who can't seem to win anything. All right, let's get the introduction started. Welcome into studio, Justin Jesus Herrera.
Yeah, I'm ready to go on a Thursday night. I'm just gonna be glaring off to the TV, checking every time to see if Lamar Jackson is scoring. No offense, Jason. It's really nothing personal. I just need a win this week in one league, and Lamar Jackson he's back. So I'm like, all right, let's go, Lamar. Come on, buddy. I'm excited to be here. I know you don't. I just thought I'd throw it out there because every once in a while you go, "Oh, you're a hater." I'm just like, no, I'm not really a hater, but your team does kind of suck. So, all right,
No hating, and I mean you can. You can hate all you want. The team sucks, so it's like whatever at this point. But just to give you an update, if you happen to be tuning in, the Ravens are up 14-3. Big surprise. All right, let's get the bills paid real quick. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, give us a like, throw your comments in there, subscribe to the channel. Little things stopping you from doing it, big things popping for us when you do. We always appreciate that. Also, if you're looking for some championship bling for your fantasy champion, look no further than Pro-Am Belts. And of course, if you're looking for daily fantasy, go to Fast Trap app, use the promo code TSS. We're going to double that deposit up to $50. Can't beat that. And of course, you're going to wake up with us on Sunday morning because we're going to give some DFS plays so we can get you started and get that $100 in. All right, we got a spooky episode tonight because it is Halloween, so we got a lot of fun stuff for you. We got our annual You Got Ghosted segment. Meg brings you into the Meg Zone, kind of like a Twilight Zone twist, and then we got sophisticated starts from our sophisticated vampire, Andrew LeDuc. All right, let's get things started. Of course, we got lots of injury news, including his own Giants with, Cam Scatterboo. Let's bring Brian Scott in from the Injury List podcast and talk injuries.
It's time to get your latest NFL injury updates with Brian from the Injured List podcast. The doctor is in.
All right, Brian. Well,
how do you like my scary hat? My scary hat.
Yeah, I'm in my cabin and I didn't have all my Halloween stuff.
He's a Giants fan. I'm terrified.
Wow.
Yeah, that's got to be.
I do have a question for you, Brian. Once Jason's done, I just wanted to throw that out there before. I just have a question for you. It's not even like anybody injury related. It's just being a doctor in general. Does anything make you like wince anymore? Like go like ooh anymore, or is it like you've seen everything at this point where you're like, oh shit?
I pretty much have seen it all at this point. There's nothing that won't make me wince. There's definitely things that are like I could do without that. But when it comes to sports injuries, there's not much that can kind of freak me out. The things that freak me out are the cardiac arrest stuff, because now you're talking about life and death. But when it comes to musculoskeletal stuff, that's not a big deal to me.
What's funny about that, when I went to school to become a physical therapist, they offered, of course, to take you to a cadaver lab, which I refused. So, yeah, but now practicing for quite a while, like Brian said, nothing really kind of surprises me anymore neither. All right, Brian, well, we got a whole length of news for week 9. Let's bring it in. Let's talk about those injuries.
Well, that's probably the scariest thing I've been dealing with is the freaking list, because it's got to be about 30 deep right now, and we don't have time to go through everybody. But I know there's a lot of pressing questions on people's minds about certain guys, and a lot of them we've been talking about already, namely Brock Purdy, who I don't think we're going to see again, even though he was limited in the practice field, practicing alongside Mac Jones. I think, again, they're just going to ride this out as long as they can, even though it looked good to see him out there. Kyle Shanahan was like using terms like sensitive to describe the injury and how they're dealing with it. That's never a good sign when the head coach is throwing out weird terms like that to describe this turf toe variant injury. I think it's really a turf toe at this point. I mean, there's no other reason why he wouldn't be able to get back on the field if it wasn't. So I don't know what they're doing. I think they're just trying to ride out this season. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up getting off-season surgery for this or something more done. But it sounds like they're just going to ride this wave with Mac Jones until he can't go no longer, and Brock Purdy is as close to 100% as he's going to get, and that truly is going to be week to week. So I don't know. I can't predict this anymore. It's week to week. Jaden Daniels looks like he's going to be back from his hamstring thing. He returned to full practice this week. He should step on the field again this weekend. Kyler Murray looks like he's coming back after their bye week, and with his foot sprain, he's been ramping up his activity at practice. Joe Flacco sprained the AC joint on his throwing shoulder. Sounds like he's 50-50. He wants to play, says he can play through it. Certainly can. It's going to be more of a comfort thing for him. I think he could do it, but at this age, this stage of his career, he relies on that arm strength. So if it's suffering, you might not see him at full strength, and that might affect his performance, which might affect his availability. So that could be a game-time decision, or if he does play, he might get limited action depending on how that game plays out. I think we'll see Bryce Young coming back from this ankle injury. I think we'll see Michael Penix back from this bone bruise. It sounds like he's ramping up his activity at practice, and they're expecting him back. Carson Wentz went down, season-ending injury, pretty brutal injury that he played through for like 2 games. Apparently dislocated his shoulder, had what's called a bony Bankart lesion, which is a fracture to the socket. Also tore the labrum in the shoulder, which is, these are injuries we typically see with a dislocation or some type of traumatic subluxation of the shoulder. Amazing he was able to play through it. Lucky for him, it was not his throwing shoulder. I think he was literally playing for his career, though. He's toward the end stages of his career. He's been primarily relegated to a backup role. This was his chance as a starter. He didn't want to give it up so easily. He toughed it out. Kudos to him. But he's going to probably have to try and latch on with another team next year. I think he'll be able to do it coming off this surgery that he's having this year. He should have time to ramp back up his activities, not his throwing shoulder. So we should see him back next year trying to make a roster somewhere. That just opens the door for J.J. McCarthy to come back, and I think we will see him. They have no excuses now to keep him off the field, unfortunately. So that high ankle sprain is more than recovered. Talking about Cam Scatabo, man, tough injury to watch. I watched the game. I saw it happen. Knew right away. Ankle fracture dislocation. What really caught my eye was that Ian Rappaport reported on Monday or Tuesday this week that he had a wound, and that's why they did surgery right away. Forget the distal fibular fracture. Forget the deltoid ligament injury. Those are known injuries when you have an ankle fracture dislocation. That's not a surprise. But the fact that he had a wound tells me that it was an open injury, which means the bone, to some degree, either poked out through the skin or caused some traumatic injury to the skin that opened it to the environment. That is the most concerning thing, because that opens it up to infection. And that's probably the reason why they did surgery in Philly right away that night. And if the swelling wasn't too bad, then they cleaned it out. They closed the wound to prevent infection, and then decided, hey, while we're here, we'll fix it and give him one and done, and not have to hopefully come back into this ankle and do anything else. That is hopefully the ideal outcome. He's not out of the woods yet, however. He's still a week out from this injury. There's the risk of infection is still there when you have an open wound, even if it is a small one. So they'll keep an eye on him. He's probably on antibiotics. Assuming everything goes well and he doesn't have infection going down the line, we should see him next season. He should have ample time to recover. I give it about 6 to 9 months of before he's fully cleared and back to full football activities, but that should work out to about preseason. So I think we'll see him in camp and ready to go. Sucks for him, sucks for the Giants. Tyrone Tracy, next man up. He'll get another shot. I don't think we're going to see Isaiah Pacheco. He's got an MCL sprain. Ramondre Stevenson didn't practice with a toe injury. DeAndre Swift hasn't practiced the last 2 days with a groin injury. I think all three of those guys, are going to be out this weekend. We should see Puka Nacua come back. He had the bye week, which was what we were predicting they were going to do, coming off this ankle injury. It didn't sound terribly serious. He tried to actually come back when he got hurt, and then they held him out. So I think we'll see him back now. Drake London's probably going to be out with a hip injury. Nico Collins working his way back from concussion protocol. Christian Kirk likely going to be down another week with his hamstring. Brian Thomas Jr. continues to play through a shoulder injury. Nothing changed there. Calvin Ridley, limited in practice with the hamstring issue. We could see a game time decision with him. I don't think we're going to see Ricky Pearsall again. Still hasn't gotten on the practice field. Again, John Lynch made some comment about the nature of this injury is very stubborn or something to that effect. And I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. It's a PCL injury. Your knee is either bruised, so you either got a bone bruise with it, or your knee is unstable, and that's concerning. And until he gets on the field, it's going to be hard to predict. Jacoby Myers missed practice with a toe injury, but they're saying that he should be ramping up his activity, should be back. I think he missed last week, but he should be ready this week. I'm just going down the list here. I'm trying to find guys. Okay, so big news, Brock Bowers will be back. He's practiced in full the last 2 days. We assumed he was going to be back after the bye, and that seems to be the case going forward. George Kittle tweaked a little hamstring. Sounds like it's nothing serious. He was limited in practice. Cole Kmet, limited in practice, dealing with a back issue. I'm not sure we're going to see him. Daniel Bellinger apparently injured his neck and was removed from the game this past weekend as well. I think he's going to remain out this week. It sounds like Theo Johnson will get most of the reps there. And there's a couple of teams on bye this week, namely the Browns, Jets, Eagles, and Bucks. So I didn't include them in this assessment tonight, but I have been tracking their progress of those guys. I think Garrett Wilson's the big name. We should see him back after the bye week. And Christian Watson made his return from the ACL. Looked pretty good. Had, I think, 5 catches, 84 yards or something. Not a bad return, less than a year out from his ACL, so good for him. He should get better and better as the season goes. And that's it. I got a lot more, but I held back. I held back a little bit. I want to scare everybody on this Halloween Eve.
Wow. Certainly lots of scary injury statuses to go over. That's scary enough in week 9, so we appreciate you as always. All right, Bri, we'll check Bri out, of course, everywhere on social media at the Injured List Podcast. And, of course, you can check his show out right here on YouTube. We got lots of great interviews from the past that he has on there, so make sure you check that out. Go follow, because it'll give you some up-to-the-minute updates. And, of course, wake up with us on Sunday morning. Bri will be here with some injury updates as we move along our Sunday. All right, Bri, we appreciate you, my friend. Happy Halloween to you and your family. And we'll see you soon. We'll see you out with your friends from NeuroGuard Plus.
Dr. Michael Hutchison has harnessed the latest in neuromuscular dentistry and impact technology to develop a mouthguard that does more than protect. It enhances. NeuroGuard Plus isn't just a mouthguard. By focusing on the jaw's physiological position, it provides an added layer of neuroprotection, significantly reducing the risk of sports-related neurological injuries. All athletes should be using a custom mouthguard designed to their bite position. NeuroGuard Plus was created as a means to maintain your physiological jaw position regardless of your bite. The appliance is designed to optimize your upper-lower jaw relationship to improve your strength, your balance, your oxygen intake, and drastically lower your chance of a concussion. Independent studies have shown that the NeuroGuard Plus will provide you with improvement to both upper and lower body strength. The same improvements were not present with a common mouthguard. Over 6,500 athletes have used the NeuroGuard Plus. Dr. Hutchison is happy to say that the amount of diagnosed concussions is 0.2%. The NeuroGuard Plus offers athletes, coaches, and parents an advantage to keep their players safe on the field. If you or your child actively participates in athletics, they need to be protected from the dangers of repetitive head trauma. Get your NeuroGuard Plus mouthguard today. Click on the link and use code ILPSports for 10% discount on your purchase.
All right. Well, normally this is where we do the news and we'll give you an update from Thursday night's game. But it's Thursday, so we're watching it live right now. The Baltimore Ravens lead 14-6 They do have the football in Miami, or sorry, in their own territory right now. It looks like around the 30-yard line. But I will just say, only Miami can get a punt return and a flag on the Ravens, get the ball at the 30-yard line, and kick a field goal. That's totally Miami's way. All right, let's break this puppy on down. We got week 9 and some scares and frights. Let's go.
It's time to get your fantasy football lineup set with TSS Fantasy Thursday Night Breakdown. If you dare.
Let's break this puppy on down. Ooh, Derrick Henry stood up. Might force a punt. We'll see. Let's go with the first matchup for Sunday. And as Brian alluded to, teams on bye this week. The Browns, the Jets, Eagles, and the Bucks. So you want to keep those guys out of your lineup. First game we got on tap is the Niners against the Giants. The 49ers 16th against fantasy QBs. They're 19th against running backs, 21st against receivers, 10th against tight ends. On the Giants side, 30th against QBs, 26th against receivers, against running backs, 27th against receivers, and 16th against tight ends. All right, Justin, I know I gave you the home games, but if you want to do the 49ers, you're more than welcome to. But if you want to do the Giants, go right ahead. I can do either or. Go ahead, brother.
All right, I'll do the Giants on this one. I'll go with Jackson Dart in this. I think that he still has a great game. San Francisco pass rush is very lackluster. They have way too many injuries on that side, so much that they went and got a second round. They went and got a former second round pick who has played like 5 downs this year. Patriots went out and stole one from the fucking 49ers at that point, getting a 6th round pick for that guy. And then, as far as their receiving threats, I would assume just go with Wan'Dale Robinson if you need to. That's if you need to, not do it. If you need to, he's going to be an okay flex option. And then I think Theo Johnson is probably going to be the guy that you're going to really want to get. The 49ers have been very shaky as far as coverage now that Warner is gone. They have a good defensive linebacking core for the rush, but not as great in the cover. And then they also leave a lot of holes.
So, I don't know if it's my internet, but I didn't hear like the last few bits of that. I don't know if it's your audio or my internet. So, but we'll just move it right along. The San Francisco 49ers. You're definitely going to start Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that's just an obvious start for you, so I don't really need to talk about that. As far as their pass catchers are concerned, I mean, to me, it's really Kittle. I feel like almost the Giants and the Niners kind of mirror each other with the receivers as far as fantasy is concerned. Like Wan'Dale, for example, as you were bringing up, great. I think he's great for PPR, where Slayton would be my flex guy for, regular, if I had to flex someone. And really, same with the Niners. There's really not much there that I would get in my starting lineup other than a flex position. Kendrick Bourne's had a nice chemistry with Mac Jones, so he's somebody you can throw in your flex if need be. So I could go on and on with them, but again, Kittle's really the guy I think out of the pass catching duos or trios, 4Os, whatever you want to call it, out of this game. So Kittle for me is definitely a start. The receivers are more flex options if you must, and then of course you're starting Christian McCaffrey. I think that's a no-brainer there. All right, let's get to the next one. The Chargers at the Titans. Chargers against fantasy QBs are 7th. 15th against running backs, 8th against receivers, 6th against tight ends. On the Titans side, they're 12th against QBs, 30th against running backs, 24th against receivers, and they are 9th against tight ends. All right, my friend, what say you about those Tennessee Titans? Oh, you put yourself on mute. Yeah, I'm not hearing you. Like your microphone's not even putting, like, how I have the green things when you talk, like it's not even putting anything. Maybe come back in. I'll talk about the Chargers right quick. right, I'll talk about the Chargers while see if Justin can adjust his microphone. Chargers, this game, I mean, listen, you're definitely going to start Hampton. I mean, this is just a no-brainer matchup. Great matchup for him. And, you know, Justin Herbert as well. He's going to be a good play this week. As far as the receivers go, McConkey has been stepping up a bit. But I just feel like this might be one of those Keenan Allen games where he steps up big. And of course, you want to go with Rondé Gatson. Even though Titans play the tight end pretty decently as the season has rolled on, but you know he's been the hot-ish, if you will. So I'm good with the Rondé Gatson in your lineup. And again, receivers-wise, I'm good with McConkey being a low-end receiver 2 flex. Same with Allen. But he, like I said, might just be a little bit above the rest. And Quentin Johnson, I mean, he's been doing a lot more streaky stuff versus what he was doing earlier this year. So if you're in a non-PPR league, it's not a bad flyer to take Quentin Johnson, at least in your flex spot. But in PPR, I don't know how much of a good play he is because right now they're utilizing more as a deep threat as the season goes on. All right, I can hear you now, Justin. Let's talk about those Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, it's Chimera Dike, and that's it. It's pretty simple. You know, Chargers are pretty good on defense, especially against the run. And the only guy who's been producing has been Dike. And he's been able to produce as a PPR threat and as a standard threat. So you just kind of want to get that guy in your roster and your lineup if you need him. Like I said with the Giants, if you need them, put them in. But otherwise, I wouldn't touch it because the Titans are just one of those teams that's completely unpredictable what they can do. I like Tajay Spears. Do I think he's going to be somebody I'm going to want to put as my RB2? No. Do I like Alec Eyemeyer? Do I think he's even ready to be considered on your roster yet? Nope. And then it's just kind of like that all the way down the line. Kamari Dike is the only guy you should be rostering right now from that team. And he's only, in my opinion, a guy if you have like a Mecca Buka out.
Totally with it on that one. Titans offense dead last in the league right now, so not a lot to talk about fantasy-wise. I know, I gave you the Giants and Titans. I'm going to tighten you up here. Let's go with the Vikings at the Lions. So we got Minnesota 14th against QBs, 11th against running backs, 7th against receivers, 18th against tight ends. On the Lions side, I know I saw it, 22nd against QBs, 4th against running backs, 25th against receivers, and they're 15th against tight ends. So what say you on the Detroit Lions?
You know what's really lost in football? Form tackling. Form tackling is gone, dude. I remember my coach used to kick my ass if I didn't get low on people. Oh, man. Anyways, Detroit Lions, it was kind of cool. The Detroit Lions, Johnny Morton, came out and said, you know, I played this position, I've coached this position, and I know how it feels to get left out. And he's talking about Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams has kind of been the odd man out in this offense, and it's like, why? I mean, this dude is a fucking nuclear threat. Like, this dude is literally like push the button and you could have a touchdown. So that might be intriguing. I think I want to see it before I'll feel comfortable putting him in, unless, you know, like I said, you have like an Emeka Egbuka situation where you need him in there. Not a bad option. Other than that, it's play everybody. I mean, listen, the Vikings have not been as good on defense as we have seen in the past. Very beatable defense overall as far as rushing and passing. And there's so many weapons on the Lions. And the one thing that you know, Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get like 8 catches. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get close to 100 yards. And one of those guys is going to get a touchdown. So you're going to put one of those guys in 100%. And the other guys are just high volume, high upside guys that you want to get, that if you have on your roster, that you, of course, want to put in. Laporta, of course. David Montgomery, even, that's a great flex option right there. They always seem to rotate those guys in, even if Gibbs is having a great game. And then, like I said, J-Mo is the one wild card that if you're like missing a Buka, I'd be like, this is maybe the chef's kiss if he ends up going for one of those 20-point nights.
So on the Viking side of things, I mean, look, at the end of the day, go Waddle. Let's go. I'm
Another
going to be in
brutal
Ravens
attack.
territory. Let's go. So on the Vikings side of things, I mean, again, Justin Jefferson, low-end receiver 2, low-end receiver 1, high-end receiver 2. Jordan Addison, more in that receiver 2 flex range. Jordan Mason, better go ahead and fade him. I don't trust any of these running backs. I think by necessity, you're going to see the Vikings throw the football down the field, even one, Lions secondary is not that great, and secondly, they're going to have to put up points against this Lion offense. So I like the receivers in the matchup. I'm not sure. I'm not really sold on J.J. McCarthy, but we'll see. He's gonna do what he's got to do, I guess, in this particular game.
Dude,
and then,
that is the ultimate wild card because literally he could make Justin Jefferson look terrible in a week because he's so bad at quarterback sometimes. For like 7 quarters, he was terrible at quarterback.
Ollie Gordon was it Ollie Gordon? Yeah, it looked like he got rolled up on, unfortunately. Yeah. So if you got Achane in, good on you. All right, let's. I have
Achane. The guy who got all the running backs in this game.
TJ Hawkinson, I don't know where the hell he's been all season. He's nobody I trust in the tight end position. There's so many good young ones out there right now. So if you have him on your roster, I hope you found someone else. But, if you got to play him, again, there's going to be volume in the passing game on the Vikings side, so you can look to go ahead and throw him in there if you need to. All right, look, we got a spooky surprise. Andrew LeDuc is in the building. Welcome in, my friend.
What up?
Are you a Pookie
Andrew
Bear?
The sloth LeDuc.
There we go. Justin's got it. The sloth. I'm a little annoyed though. So Ollie Gordon got rolled up on. I haven't seen that yet. I just sat.
Yeah, it just happened just now. To literally.
I'm up here up in a league too.
I just picked him up and played him tonight because it's bye-week hell for me in my home league.
Well, I have a chance, so he's on my roster, but definitely not my starting lineup. Jalen Wright actually was ruled out of this game too, so it's definitely going to be all 8-chan from here on out. Let's go. All right, let's get it on. We got let's go with our next matchup. Andrew LeDuc's just in time because we got Atlanta at the Patriots. Atlanta against fantasy QBs are 4th, 24th against running backs, 5th against receivers. They are numero uno against tight ends. New England, 6th against QBs, 5th against running backs, 12th against receivers, and they are 28th against tight ends. LeDuc, I can give you to you if you like. If you want the Patriots, hit it. Oh, he wants them. He wants them. All right, go ahead. Talk about your Patriots.
Of course I want the Patriots because they're actually fun to talk about right now. Drake May is still a must-start. I say the biggest thing coming out of this game right now is Ramondre Stevenson missed practice again today with his toe injury. So coming off the back of the last week with Trevion Henderson finally getting some looks and finally looking explosive because, shocker, they didn't run him up the middle and they ran him off tackles. So I expect a big Henderson day if Stevenson is in fact out. If Stevenson does play, I think Henderson is still a flex guy for you this week. So I love Henderson in this matchup. It's a toss-up between Diggs and Booty. Each week they seem to both have a consistent floor of like 7-8-ish points. So that's not the end of the world. That's not bad. But Kayshon Booty definitely has the bigger upside and touchdown potential. So I'd prefer him over Diggs at this point. And then Hunter Henry's just safe as always. So go Pats. And Trevion Henderson season, it's finally here.
As they say, if you like the Patriots receiving core, you're digging in your booty. All right, Justin, what say you on those Falcons?
They don't say that. You know what? Drew, I'm so happy that you said that because my 2 big money leagues this year, I am 6-2 in both of them. And I have Trevion Henderson, and I have been fucking ramming my head against the wall, playing him week to week and barely skidding by. And if he starts to take off right before that little second half into the playoffs, I'm going to be so goddamn happy. But anyways, the Falcons, oh, man, dude, you talk about a wet fart being the Miami Dolphins. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, the Atlanta Falcons these past 2 weeks have played like – like that dog duty that you got to get off your dog's fur. You're just like, oh, geez, come on. What did you do? Then he went and rolled in it afterwards. That's how bad they've been. I don't know who's playing quarterback for this team, and I don't think it fucking matters right now. Drake London's still questionable, so if he's not playing, well, then good luck for everybody else. B. John Robinson has the weight of the world on him, and they didn't even give him, 16 carries last week. They gave him only 9, which was dumb, real dumb. Tyler Algier is questionable going into this week. If I just said play Bijan and hope for the best, would you be mad at me? Because that's pretty much how I feel about this team right now. I don't know who's starting, who's even going to be showing up to the building. I don't know who's going to be the water boy. I don't really care. I don't even know if Raheem Morris is going to have a job after this week. Because if he has another embarrassing game, I wouldn't want to keep him on my team. I'd be hit the road, Jack. Let's see if the OC can do better.
So the one thing I'll interject is that I do think this might be a decent, I'm going to throw up in my mouth saying it, but it could be a good Kyle Pitts game with London doing hurting and Mooney hurting, and he's 2 weeks in a row Pitts has shown up, so I think might be a decent week for him. Patriots, again, they're 28th against fantasy tight ends, so it might be a little bit of a bugaboo for the Patriots, so I definitely would throw Kyle Pitts in. I can't believe I'm even saying it. By the way, speaking of dogs pooping, I just had to share this story. Don't ever feed your dog the night prior, like good human food before you leave on a long trip, because I made the mistake of we had some steaks that were kind of going to go if we didn't cook them, so I cooked them up, gave them to both our dogs. My one dog, it's an 8-hour drive. We got out a couple times. She shit like 4 times. So I was like, okay, well, whatever she's dealing with in there, she's good now. And then we were about an hour away. She came jumping in the back seat, and I was like, yo, get in the back. And she was panting. I'm like, what's she panting about? Next thing you know, all you could just smell was nothing but shit. She diarrheaed all over the back seat. Oh, my God. The worst thing ever. Just going to bring that up. And I know they don't say that diggity booty, but I think that might be a good fantasy football name anyway. So I'll just throw that out there. All right, let's get to the next one. The Colts at the Steelers. This might be an interesting matchup. Colts against fantasy QBs are 17th or 7th against running backs, 30th against receivers, or 29th against tight ends. Pittsburgh, 31st against QBs, 12th against running backs, 28th against receivers, and 31st against tight ends. Ooh-wee. All right, Justin, talk about those Steelers. Who you like and don't like?
Yeah, for this one, I'm liking DK Metcalf. Aaron Rodgers can be a QB2 if you need him in a super flex. As far as the running backs go, man, I don't know if I want to choose right now. I think I'd stay away from Jaylen Warren. The front of the Colts has been pretty good this year. And, I think that you have a better chance of attacking them with Freiermuth and with DK Metcalf. And then, obviously, one to watch is Roman Wilson after his big breakout game. He might end up becoming the next Randall Cobb. I know everybody's going to become the next Randall Cobb or whatever. But the Jets had their next Randall Cobb. I don't even know who his name was. But at some point, somebody said, he's the next Randall Cobb. But, I just take a look at that, maybe put him on your watch list and see what's going to happen from there. But otherwise, just stick to the basics, Metcalf and Rodgers.
All right, LeDuc, talk about the visiting Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, stick to the basics here as well, because this is a good matchup for the basics. It's Jones and Taylor. Taylor's in another really good spot. I would say, obviously Tyler Warren is still a must-start tight end. Michael Pittman has been looking good as of late. He's still a bit inconsistent in my eyes to trust fully, but with bye weeks and all that, you gotta probably feel all right with starting Michael Pittman this week. Josh Downs is still kind of working his way back, and Alex Pierce is really just a kind of a big play. Maybe we'll see him, maybe we don't kind of situation. So Jonathan Taylor should smash again though, and Michael Pittman is a dart throw if you really need someone in flex. But Daniel Jones should still be a solid QB start this week as well.
Mike McDaniel's allergic against fucking first downs in the red zone. I swear to God, every time they get down here, all of a sudden they get stuffed up. Every fucking time. Anyway, so ahead, Justin. Sorry.
He does the same shit that Shanahan does. He tries to go short and make you fucking go get the yards yourself. It's like, no, dude, throw a play that's more than 4 yards down fucking field. Or don't fucking run it directly up the middle. No, dude, I have the exact same problem with Shanahan. He gets in the red zone, he fucking freezes. His brain goes into dumb mode. And you go, actually, I don't know how to coach. I can get you from 20 to 20, but I can't get you to the end zone. Fucking
They're going for it on 4th and 2. Might as well just do the play-by-play on this one. Tua in the backfield. Oh, he looks to go. Throws a fade, and the receiver cuts the route because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. All right, happy Halloween, everyone. We got a Halloween version of the Meg Zone. Let's check it out.
You're traveling through another dimension, scene. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind.
Welcome to the Meg Zone, my exclusive club where only the best fantasy football players get through the door. All the ghosts and ghouls of Halloween, they get stopped before they get in. Let's jump into it then. So, first up, the first ghoul to appear at my door this week was Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos. He will not be making it through the door, let me tell you. That ghost is being busted, straight out. He has not made it above 13 points, except in 2 games this season in terms of fantasy football. He is facing a Texan side that is strong and only growing stronger. I am not convinced that he is going to get you some decent points this week. So Courtland Sutton, we ain't afraid of no ghosts. You're not coming in, buddy. Next up, we have got Travis Kelce. He's coming off a short week this week. He is being ghost busted all the way to the back of the queue for the Meg Zone. There is no chance that he can get in the door this week. He is facing a Buffalo Bills side that is formidable, that is scary, that is coming up at him in his face, and there is no way that he is going to be putting points on the board for those Chiefs this week, unless they get a little bit of help from the supernatural dressed in black and white. And finally, this week, not making it through the door, we've got Alvin Kamara. He has not made it above 13 points either. That spooky number 13 this week, one to watch. The Saints are no match for any side right now. We know this. The only worse team than them are the Jets, right? Alvin Kamara, you've been ghost busted all the way out of the Meg Zone, honey. You are not making it in that door. Not taking that risk. You're not haunting our teams for any amount of time. Which ghosts have you still got left on your team? I will see you next week for another spooky episode, or a less spooky episode of Meg Zone. Catch me on Ballers_Meg across all social media platforms for hints and tips with your ghost busting for your fantasy football teams this week.
He slimed me.
Alrighty, thanks Meg for our spooky Meg Zone this week. Royston, welcome in, my friend. Appreciate you dropping on in on our Thursday night breakdown. We appreciate you. Alright, let's get on. We got a couple more games, and then You Got Ghosted here in a second. This one shouldn't take long for fantasy analysis. We got Denver at Houston. Denver against fantasy QBs are 3rd, 10th against running backs, 2nd against receivers, 8th against tight ends. Houston, number 1 against QBs, 8th against running backs, 4th against receivers, 5th against tight ends. All right, LeDuc, take the Broncos. Who you like and don't like this week?
This is a dangerous game. This Houston defense is legit. They're good. I think they're gonna, put a kind of a chokehold on the running game here. So I expect Bo Nix to be doing a lot with his legs and with his arms here. And I guess the big story coming out of this Broncos offense is Troy Franklin may or may not have caught Courtland Sutton for this wide receiver 1. I know that's been a big conversation this week. Troy Franklin just looks better right now. I'm not saying that doesn't mean Courtland Sutton sucks or anything, but Franklin's just on a heater at the moment, and they're riding that. I expect them to continue to ride that. So I give Franklin the edge in my lineups right now over Sutton, but it still wouldn't shock me if Sutton goes out there and was able to outscore Franklin comfortably. So Bo Nix is going to be throwing a lot in this game, I think. So I think both are very serviceable, but I'm staying away from Evan Ingram and the running game in this game.
All right, Justin, what say you? Talk about who you like and don't like on the Houston Texans side.
Yeah, so with the Texans, I'm probably going to stay away from the running game. Don't like Woody Marks or Nick Chubb to be effective in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of Dalton Schultz. Nico Collins has been reported healthy, so you have to put him in just based off where you drafted him. And then as far as the rookies go, man, I would love for Jalen Noel to just take over that spot because he is much better than Christian Kirk at this stage, probably ever. He is more explosive. He is better with the ball in his hand, and he might be on par as a route runner. So I want him to be there, but I don't know how D'Amico's going to run his system, if he's going to let seniority rule or if he's going to be like, hey, this dude's kind of been the hot hand the past 2 weeks. Let's ride it. So as far as that goes, leave those guys off the team. Put Nico Dalton in. If you really have to, CJ Stroud. In my opinion, he's still a QB2 in QB1 leagues. And, it's good for a super flex. But, yeah, I would leave Stroud out. I think this is going to be more of a defensive struggle than anything else.
Yeah, this game reminds me of if I had, obviously a pretend scenario, but if I was all by myself and walked into a club with no dudes in it, but nothing but high-class females with big money gold diggers that are they're models, I might get lucky with one of them, but the majority I'm not going to get nothing with. So that's kind of what this game kind of reminds me of. You might get lucky with a Nico or a Sutton, but if you can, I'd stay the hell away. Same with Bo Nix. I'd stay the hell away from all of it, quite frankly, if you can. That's, of course, the big if. All right, let's get to the next one. Now, this one should give you some fantasy points. The Chicago Bears at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bears 23rd against QBs. They're 23rd against running backs. 19th against receivers, and guess what? 23rd against tight ends. So must be a theme going there. Cincinnati, 26th against QBs. They are dead last in the league against running backs. 13th against receivers, and we know they're dead last against tight ends. All right, let's get things started. LeDuc, talk about the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, okay. I thought I was going to do the Bears.
I meant to say Justin go the Cincinnati Bengals. That was my fault.
Oh, am I going or is LeDuc going with the Bears?
You are. You're Justin going with the Bengals.
Okay, I got you. All right. Just want to make sure. All right. Yeah, so, if Joe Flacco plays, 100%. If Jake Browning plays, 100% no. 100% abort the mission. That's pretty much for everybody in the roster at that point. I think I like Chase Brown. He obviously had a huge game against the Jets, but the Bears are not that much better when it comes to the ground game. And then, Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase, but God damn, it really does make a difference who's throwing him the ball. If Jamar Chase is getting thrown the ball by Joe Flacco, you go, oh, Jamar Chase, that's your number one pick right there. Jamar Chase getting thrown the ball by Jake Browning, you go, he's a nice flex. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how it goes. And that obviously throws up my decision on T. Higgins in the air as well. Really, I know I'm not giving too much advice here other than really look into who's playing because Flacco is 50-50. If he plays, book them all in there. If he doesn't, book maybe everyone but T. Higgins. I think he'll probably be the lone guy out in that one. And then obviously no tight end because, I wouldn't even put the tight end in if Flacco was in. But.
So I think the biggest, or the person that is most affected by Flacco is really T. Higgins. If Flacco's in, T. Higgins is in play. If not, definitely you're gonna play Jamar though, no matter what. He's at least a flex spot. Again, Bears defense is not very good, so I think either way, Jake Browning might have a decent game if he does go. All right, talk about Andrew LeDuc. Talk about the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, so I think it's clear now. Rome Odunze is by far Caleb Williams' most trusted and favorite target. So you got to continue putting Odunze in there. Caleb Williams is just an RB, a QB2 super flex kind of guy. He's just too inconsistent at this point. I know he's had his good games. This could be one of those games though, because this is Cincinnati defense is bad. The biggest kind of play here, though, is definitely going to be Colston Loveland, I think, just given the tight ends that are on bye this week, the tight ends that are available on waiver wire to cover those buys. Colston Loveland was available in just about every league format and league across all websites. like you said, dead last the Bengals are against tight end. I think this could be a Colston Loveland week because, like I said, outside of Odunze, there's really no other pass catching option. So other than maybe DeAndre Swift, he catches a lot out of that too. So, but I think that's going to be your biggest kind of look to in this lineup this week that's different than normal. It's definitely Colston Loveland. He could be a bye week savior.
Yeah, Loveland in DFS too would be a nice cheap play also, so something to just kind of throw out there as well. All right, let's get on to the next one. The Packers at the Panthers. Packers against fantasy QBs are 21st. They're 3rd against running backs. They're 22nd against receivers and 30th against tight ends. Carolina, they're 11th against QBs, 14th against running backs, 3rd against receivers, and 24th against tight ends. And let me sure I screw this up. LeDuc, talk about those Green Bay Packers.
This should be another big Tucker Kraft game, and really he's going to be the main guy on this offense again. Josh Jacobs as well, as obviously you got to start him. But other than Jacobs, other than Tucker Kraft, like those are really the two guys I want to play here. Like you're most likely going to play Jordan Love on a week like this. I don't necessarily feel confident about it just because he's been kind of lower ceiling this year. But Tucker Kraft, Josh Jacobs, there should be smash starts for you this week. Romeo Doubs is got to find the end zone and to be useful. And then when it comes to Watson and Golden, like they'll be interesting to see what happens, how they shake out. But fantasy wise, you can't put them in.
Justin, what do you think about those Carolina Panthers?
All right. So I was just looking up whether Bryce Young is actually playing. And it looks like he logged a full practice. So I guess he's playing. Yeah, it doesn't make it that much better. But I'll tell you what it does do. It makes Ted McMillan a viable candidate for this week. Somebody who you can trust as a wide receiver. 2, flex. He just gets that many targets. And even without a touchdown, he still has a chance in PPR to get you 15 points. Yeah. Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. I guess Rico Dowdle is the guy, but does that really mean anything when your offense sucks ass? I don't know. Bryce Young, hells to the no. He's going to get his little midget ass sacked all day long. Micah Parsons is coming, son. And then Jatavion Sanders, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, just play 10. Still leave it at that.
That's all he's got. Is I mean, again, this Packers defense is pretty nasty against a run too. So like you said, doesn't really matter if anyone's the guy right now in Carolina. So I'll feel you there.
One thing I'd add here is definitely keep Hubbard out of your lineups because I'm hearing rumors that he could be a trade candidate over this next week, and if they are in preliminary talks to send him out the door, they're gonna sit his ass this week because they don't want to threaten that. So I don't think Hubbard really gets much go here at all in this game.
All right, and just for an update, it is halftime and the Ravens are up 14-6. Nothing funnier than the Dolphins were setting up for a Hail Mary, and I was already thinking, Tua can't make it that far. Like, what are they doing? Of course, he just takes a sack, so that's what happens. All right, let's talk about the next matchup. The New Orleans Saints are at the Rams. New Orleans against fantasy QBs are 18th, and 18th also against running backs. They're 10th against receivers, and they're 14th against tight ends. Rams, 9th against QBs, 2nd against running backs, 20th against receivers, and 11th against tight ends. And I also understand that Chuck is going to be the starter from now on. They don't really care if Spencer Rattler is, which is really confusing. So anyway, LeDuc, talk about those New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I don't really know what the Saints are doing because they obviously don't believe in Rattler long term is the only thing I can say here because the season's a loss. It's not like the switch to solid and Rattler is going to make a difference in their season. So that does nothing for me. It does worse for Olave. And once again, Rashid Shaheed's another guy who is on the kind of trade discussions possibly here, which I'm a little surprised by because I thought the Saints kind of liked having him as like this do anything guy, but he's apparently up for trade talks as well. So we'll see how that shakes out. Basically, I don't see how you can really start I mean, I guess you do have to start Olave just because he is their best option. They're probably going to pepper him, but I'm not confident in the accuracy of the looks that he's going to be getting, so I don't feel good about anybody here.
On top of playing a tough Rams D, it's not helping at all. Justin, I'm sorry I did this to you. I know you don't like the Rams much, but let's talk about who you like and don't like.
Yeah, so Rashid Shaheed to the Patriots. What? I would definitely see that one coming.
Well, we basically already have that in Pop Douglas. Like we have our version of him already.
Yeah, but he's a little bit taller and a little bit faster. And,
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm sure you can come by cheap too with all the picks you guys just got. What the Rams just play everybody. I mean, and for sure play the defense. If you can find the defense on waiver wire because somebody dropped them because they were on a bye, get that defense real freaking quick. Because this Tyler Shupkick is going to get absolutely demolished. I guarantee you that. This guy he's not ready for Jared Verse, Byron Young, Fisk. All these guys are just going to absolutely make his day miserable. And then, hopefully, I know Alvin Kamara never wants to leave, but dude, go try and win a ring. I don't know. Like, if I was his agent, I'd be like, I get it. We can ask later on when you want to retire to get you a new contract here, and we can retire with them. But you want to go to Kansas City or something like that, get a ring. Just think about it, dude. I like you, Alvin. I like you.
Yeah, it could definitely find a home somewhere. Somebody needs a running back for a contender. Like Justin said, I totally agree. Play Matt Stafford. Gotta love Puka. Gotta love Devonta Adams. Gotta love Kyron Williams. You said earlier, your analysis earlier, just play the whatever the hell you said. Whatever.
The Rams defense.
Keep it simple. That's kind of I think what you said. All right.
Don't overthink it. Don't pull your
whatever.
Rams.
It was something like that. Whatever the hell it was. All right. So every year, of course, here on TSS Fantasy, on Halloween, we like to bring up the players that you drafted high that did not do well for you. On Halloween, we say you got ghosted, and we're about to play that now. So let's see some of the players that ghosted you, and if you got some, throw them in your comments. Here we go.
Should've listened to TSS Fantasy, because motherfucker, you got ghosted. If you drafted Brock Bowers, your team has been getting rated all season long. Don't draft tight ends high, moron, because you got ghosted. If you drafted CD Lamb this season, you must love steers and queers, because you fool, you got ghosted.
If you drafted Saquon Barkley with your first pick, you, sir or madam, are a dumbass. You got ghosted like the British did.
Remember last season when BTJ was killing it for your lineup? Then you jumped this year to draft? Silly kitty, you got ghosted.
First score, and 8 weeks ago you drafted a young rookie, Travion Henderson. His big playmaking ability has been left on the bench while you got ghosted.
You thought you had your quarterback in Jaden Daniels, but ultimately, you got ghosted like the Ford Theater.
I know you thought Ashton Janty was the next coming of Bo Jackson. You busted on that pick and got ghosted.
Remember when you ignored the warning signs about Tyreek Hill and drafted him anyway? Yeah, pendejo, you got ghosted. Next summer, listen to TSS Fantasy, so you don't get ghosted in the fall.
Yeah, I did the Saquon Barkley last week before he had a good week, so I kind of screwed that up a little bit, but I just left it in there anyway.
Well, a lot of those ghosted were because of injuries too, so it's a little.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Tyreek Hill one was a little bit sus. I was like,
listen, he's my fucking guy. If I want to say he ghosted me, I'm gonna fucking say he ghosted me.
I'm just saying, I gave some guys and I didn't see them in there. Kenneth Walker ghosted me.
All right, listen, my bad. All right, I only got so much time in my day. It is what it is. If you got players though that ghosted you, feel free to drop your comments in and let us know. We appreciate you. All right, let's finish things up. The Jags at the Raiders. Jags against fantasy QBs are 27th, 9th against running backs, 26th against receivers. They're 21st against tight ends. Raiders, 20th against QBs, 17th against running backs, 29th against receivers, and they're 7th against tight ends. Justin, what say you about those Raiders?
Start Brock Bowers. So every report coming out He looks great. He's tearing up the field. And you know what? Sometimes it really is you're missing that one piece of the offense that makes it all click. I know LeDuc remembers this. They took an L to the Raiders early on, like very first game. And who was a big part of that? Brock motherfucking Bowers. So that was the game that he injured his PCL. Ever since then, he was running slower. Then they finally shut him down for 3 straight weeks. Listen, every once in a while, it's just as simple as just putting that one guy back in the lineup and everything starts to click afterwards. Now, I'm not going to say everything's going to click in Las Vegas real quick. So I'm not going to start Jacoby Myers. I'm not ready for that. And then, Ashton Genty he's fringe on a flex with me because I didn't draft him much, but I'm just not impressed with what I've been seeing so far. And then Geno Smith, he could still go piss up a rope for me.
Yeah, they were in my prediction of Ashton Genty breaking Gale Sayers' record in the summer.
That's right. I forgot about that.
We all got lofty predictions, man. I thought Alec Eyemeyer was going to be an actual thing.
So, hey, we throw her on the wall and hope something sticks. Who knows? All right, LeDuc, what'd you say about them Jaguars?
Yeah, this feels like one of those ugly, sloppy games that can somehow produce some fantasy points that are relevant and save some weeks. So I kind of don't mind Trevor Lawrence in this matchup. I hate to say that possibly Brian Thomas has somewhat of a normal week this week. Another guy, I feel like I'm on repeat here, who is rumored that they're taking phone calls to trade him. So maybe in his situation, he goes out and tries to ball out and spotlight himself a little bit. So, maybe Brian Thomas has a little bit of a game like he had last year, and then they move on from him. So, but the main here, Travis Etienne's been looking too good this year that you gotta, he's a good running back 2 option this week, it seems. I know he's had a slower week the last few weeks, but he's gone up against 3 really good run defenses in the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the Rams. So coming off the bye with this matchup against the Raiders, I think Etienne gets back to what we saw early on in the year and surprising people. So I like Etienne in this matchup. And from a DFS standpoint, he's probably a bit cheaper now after the last few weeks he's had. So the Jaguars are miraculously a good team this year, but it's a real toss-up as to who's going to win them their game each week. It makes it really hard for fantasy, so good luck.
All right, let's get to the game of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Buffalo Bills. Kansas City against fantasy QBs are 5th, 6th against running backs, 6th against receivers, 4th against tight ends. The Bills, they're 20th against QBs, 27th against running backs, 9th against receivers, and they're number 2 against tight ends. All right, LeDuc, take it away with those Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward here between Mahomes, yes, Rashee Rice, yes, Travis Kelce. You probably have to, unfortunately, even though he hasn't been what we want him to be, but that's a go for. What I'm most interested here is with the Pacheco injury, where it looks like he's most likely sitting out this week. I get the feeling that they're going to use Kareem Hunt the way they have used him. He's going to get your goal line work, your short yardage work, and whatnot. I think we see a bit more Brashard Smith in between the 20s in this game, and I'll be curious to see. He's got the potential to break some big plays here. I can see Smith surprising some owners this week and coming through in a flex spot. Like, once again, on this heavy bye week, Brashard Smith is one of those guys that I went out and gut, and I'm nervous about starting him, but he was better than a lot of other options, and I'm riding it, and I'm going with it in my home league, and he's going to be in my starting lineup because I have to, but I think there is legitimate potential there for him to be electric.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot, actually. It could be a big game for him. Buffalo definitely gives it up to the running back, so it could be a good play indeed. All right, Justin, what say you about them Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, so I'm really liking James Cook right now. James Cook is absolutely tearing it up. I mean, he's probably right there with Jonathan Taylor as far as like a game breaker for his team. Like, obviously Jonathan Taylor's a runaway, but like if there was a second place in that category, I think you would definitely be able to give that to James Cook. He's been huge for the Bills this year. As far as the receivers go, it's really tough predict those guys on a week-to-week basis. I'll say Khalil Shakir has definitely been producing. Now, do I want to put him as my number one wide receiver or even my number two? No. But, if you're really in dire need of a good flex, he's definitely somebody you should consider. Dalton Kincaid has also been surprisingly good this season. I think a lot of people were over him. And then I think that obviously Josh Allen is not over him just yet. So that's why he's probably doing a little bit better this year. And then obviously you just put Josh Allen in. He's been not Josh Allen in some games this year, which has been unusual, but I think this is the game that he needs to be the MVP of the league. So look for him to have a really good game, and look for this to just be an exciting fireworks scoring palooza game. It's gonna be good.
One of those where whoever has the ball last, I did when I was looking up the stats, so I did see it looks like the regular season games aren't as exciting points wise than the playoff games, but either way, you're still going to get some good points on either side of this one. All right, let's go to the Seahawks at the Commanders. Seahawks against fantasy QBs are 15th. They're 13th against running backs, 16th against receivers, and they're 26th against tight ends. The Washington Commanders are 28th against QBs, 16th against running backs, 23rd against receivers, and they're 25th against tight ends. All right, Justin, what do you say about those Washington Commanders? Looks like Jaden Daniels getting a start this week too.
Yeah, so I'll play Jaden Daniels. No Terry McLaurin. It almost pushes Debo into that wide receiver 2 category, even though he really hasn't performed that way for about a couple weeks now. Zach Ertz is still going to be a tight end who's viable as a flex as well. You don't just have to have a tight end slot open for him. He's good enough for that. And then I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Bill Crosby narrative. He's had a couple of these games where he's shown you I can be the number one running back, and I would not be surprised if this is one of those games. Seattle, while they are very good defense, they have had some hiccups against strong runners. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls something out in this one.
All right, LeDuc, what you say about them Seattle Seahawks?
Really simple here. JSN is a must start. Cooper Kupp is limited today in practice, I believe I saw. So watch out for that injury there. But even if he does play, he's no better than a flex start. Sam Darnold is going to be a QB2, a super flex start. And then when it comes to the running backs, I'd still rather start Charbonnet over Walker, just because Charbonnet is clearly going to get all the goal line and red zone touches, and Walker is just going to be everything else in between. But Walker's not even catching passes at this point. So there's really very little value from Walker there. So it's really just Sam Darnold and JSN at this point for the Seattle offense.
Royston said he's been checking Daniel's injury report. Hopefully he plays and doesn't get hurt. Must have him on the roster, apparently. But yeah, I feel you hope at least get him in there. Nice to see what this offense looks like at full strength, at least for once this season. All right, let's go to the Monday Night Delight. The Cardinals are at the Dallas Cowboys. It looks like Kyler Murray has a go for this one. Arizona against fantasy QBs are 10th. They're 21st against running backs, 14th against receivers, 27th against tight ends. I mentioned Kyler Murray because the Cowboys dead last against fantasy QBs, 31st against running backs. They are dead last against receivers, and they're 12th against tight ends. LeDuc, what do you got to say about the visiting Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, so the biggest news here is that Kyler Murray is preparing to start this week, so he should be back, it looks like. We'll see what kind of bump that gives this offense. I don't expect it to change what Marvin Harrison has been doing all year, unfortunately, because they didn't have much of a connection when he was playing anyways. So it's really Trey McBride is going to be your main receiver on this team like he has been all year, no matter who the quarterback has been. And then, you can take a chance as a flex starting Zonovan Knight, but I don't – he's got no ceiling, unfortunately. And going up against this Dallas defense, it's – I don't know. He can probably get you 9 or 10 points, I'd say. And if sometimes with a bye week fill-in, that's all you need. But with any level of confidence, I'm not going to give him any confidence in saying starts on him at night.
All right, Justin, what do you say about those Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm all systems go on the Cowboys in this game. I think Dak needs a good rebound game. The Cardinals' defense has been pretty banged up. I know they got a bye week, but their secondary in particular has been banged up all season long. Sounds like a perfect game to get CeeDee Lamb got back and going. George Pickens continue his streaky season, and Jake Ferguson has been a very reliable option this year. Throw in the fact that Javonte Williams has been obviously earning his next contract, and it looks like it'll be a nice one. I think this is a full tilt boogie, full systems go for the Cowboys. If you got them, just play them, because at this point, the only thing the Cardinals can really do as far as defense is keep on scoring on the other side.
And I think the same, like I said, same goes for the Cardinals offense. I think this is going to be a big fantasy bonanza on both sides. If you need a Monday night savior, I think you're good on either side of the football, because they're just going to be throwing it up and down the field. That's what I foresee coming. So we shall see. All right, well, listen, it is Halloween, of course. We normally give you some sophisticated picks for this weekend, but instead, well, they're still sophisticated. I shouldn't say that. But instead, we got a sophisticated vampire to give you some sophisticated picks this week. Let's check it out. It's our own Andrew LeDuc with some sophisticated starts this week. Let's check it out.
It's time for some sophisticated fantasy football bites from Mr. Mallard.
Welcome to Count Sophistication this week, where I will list you the guys who will suck the life out of your lineup if you start them. So, leave these guys out and let's start with J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins has been good this year. For no time, he's been drained from your lineup because the matchup is tough against that Houston defense. And R.J. Harvey is coming back into a role where he's a big play guy. So J.K. Dobbins' ceiling will be low as my coffin in the ground when I sleep it tonight. And let's move on to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen had a good season. Back to his old ways, McConkey-like. And Orambe Gadsden is turning into a star. So there's not enough room for all of it to go around. Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson take a step back. So keep Keenan Allen out of your lineup. And then last but not least, that's all. Jordan Mason. Aaron Jones is back. Jordan Mason is gone like a bat in the wind. Jordan Mason will drain any chance you have of winning this week out of your lineup. So, keep out Keenan Allen. Keep out Jordan Mason. And keep out the other guy. Happy Halloween from Count Sophistication.
Right now, what's going on?
Three little pigs!
What's the ruckus? What was that?
Shut the door. I think it's gonna rain.
Wait a second.
So could you tell I couldn't remember the other guy?
That was super funny, man. I love it.
Well, I'd already done like 4 takes, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm not stopping. I'm just gonna say the other guy."
Royson says, I have Daniels and Hurts picked up old man Flacco, and just in case Daniels opt out Sunday. I feel you. You got Flacco, unfortunately, also on the injured list also, so hopefully that works out for you. Shifty Chef, what is up? Jeffrey Butchko. Good to see you popping in, my friend. He says fantasy bonanza. He likes that Cardinals-Cowboys matchup. Royce said, my son likes Dracula. He thought it was the Count from Sesame Street. funny enough, that was the in the video was the count. That's why I kind of put him out there at the end. So you know, I got a little one too. So I'm still loving the count always.
And
All right,
shout out to my wife Anna for the makeup, because that'll never happen again.
Yeah, makeup, you know, was decent. You know, nobody's gonna mistake you for an actor though, so we'll just say that at least.
LeDuc the thespian.
I had like 3 accents in there. I kept switching between for Dracula. It was like Irish, Jamaican, and something else.
Hey, it worked, bro. You put in the work. We always appreciate that. All right, don't forget, of course, wake up with us. We're still going to be celebrating Halloween because I messed up last week. We were supposed to do this last Sunday, so that was kind of my bad. But we're still going to be celebrating the season on Sunday. Wake up with us, 8 a.m. We got even Fantasy Satan coming to bless your lineups. Special Sunday morning cartoon as well. And, of course, we'll give you our picks, and we got some good betting advice for you. At least let you win some money. And, of course, get you some DFS lineups to win you some money this week. All right, well, from us to you, happy Halloween. Our own little sloth is here to ring it on out. We appreciate all of you. Hope you enjoy and have a safe Halloween with you and your family. We will see you Sunday morning. We appreciate you, and we are out.